where you identify a weakness and then you're going to exploit that weakness.
Yeah, men have the responsibility to earn and provide for their household, just like women have the responsibility of, raising the children.
So, Sister Madiha, if I can switch to you. Yeah. So, if you look at different countries, different societies around the globe, especially in the East and Africa, it's kind of like a predominantly kind of male dominant, if I may call, right? But in the West, especially in America, our society is kind of equally balanced in terms of kind of the gender domination, if I come to be more precise. Though some claim is kind of more favoring the female population, especially the women's rights and the protection by the law and other stuff. So my question is, does culture play a role in perpetuating the domestic abuse, which will lead to violence?
So I think there is I think it's, it's easy to label the East as this like conservative backwards culture where it's like women are at home and men are at, work and hold a lot of the power. I would argue the opposite. I think that in the East, the division of labor is clearly understood and everyone knows their roles a little bit better. So I think, whereas over there, the women are, kind of understood to be the homemakers and they understand their role. And even if they work outside, they do have, like, in Pakistan, India, you have the Masjid or the help and all of that stuff that kind of help you kind of raise the family, keep the home together. And then you have the joint family system where you have, the extended family that are also helping and, contributing to the home, right? So the idea is over in the Eastern cultures, if the woman chooses to work, she still has support at home to help her do the work, so she's not doing full-time job and full-time homemaking, right? And I think that division and that role is more clearly stated. I think in the East where we get those, the media and the way they kind of portray us over there as these backwards people is when, again, like Imam Nadim so well clearly stated earlier, is when one individual in the marriage takes power and authority and uses that against another person in the marriage, right? So if the woman, for example, does not have a family, let's say her parents have passed away and she doesn't have any male figures that can help her, she's kind of stuck in that marriage, right? If it's bad and she has no education, how she's gonna earn, right? And the idea is if the man says, I'm not gonna pay for you, I'm not gonna, support you once you're divorced, I'm gonna take the kids away from you, right? You have nobody to go to, what does she do except stay in that marriage? Because at that point, her survival is being questioned, right?
So it's a misuse and exploitation of the situation.
It's an exploitation of the weakness. I mean, it's where you identify a weakness and then you're going to exploit that weakness.
Yeah.
And they're really good at that. Whoever does it, I mean, they know what they're doing very clearly.
Yeah. And I think in the East and the West, did you guys see the Barbie movie? The one that came out like 2 years ago. Did you see it, Dr. Emma? No. Okay. So in the Barbie movie, right, there's this scene where Ryan Gosling, right, he leaves the Barbie world and he goes into the real world. And in the Barbie world, think of it's the opposite. Like the women are in charge, they're the president, they're the ones doing all of that, and the men are more of like the traditional women that we see here. So he comes into the real world and he goes to this area, it's like called Millennium Park or whatever, and it's like this, like think like finance bros, right? So it's all the like toxic masculinity type people that are there, the high achievers. And he goes, what is this, right? He's like, well, this is patriarchy, right? And they're like, I thought patriarchy was dead. And the guy goes, patriarchy isn't dead, we just learned to hide it better, right? So the idea here is just because in the West we like to proclaim that we're all about equality and women's rights, it's not that way, right? Women still earn less than men do, right? I argue women burnout rate is higher because even though women are now working, they're still expected to also complete the traditional roles in the homes. So you're actually working as a full-time homemaker and a full-time, income earner, but then you're still expected to contribute 50-50, right? And what is that 50-50? It's the money, right? But when it comes to the household chores, sometimes the men don't pick up their side, right? And again, this is generalization, because I have seen homes where it works out well, right? And when we talk about that 50-50 model, which is like we both earn, we both contribute to the pot, but we also contribute to the household chores and raising the children, right? And that's when it becomes a healthy balance. And again, Islam shows us that too, right? So it is men, men have the responsibility to earn and provide for their household, just like women have the responsibility of, raising the children. But that doesn't mean men have no responsibility in raising the children, and women can't contribute to the household if needed, right? So the idea here is that there are division of roles within our religion, but it's the exploitation of those roles, and then the pushing of like, well, you want to work, sure, but you also have to do this and you have to also do that, and kind of manipulating the spiritual aspect of it to kind of enforce that control and dominance on another person.
Got it. So is it accurate to say that West has very intelligently exploited
I think we've just gotten
the
smarter.
women's right, under the pretext of women's right, women's liberation, kind of put more pressure on the women. Now you have to go out and make a living, along with, as you mentioned, doing the household chores.
So when I see, like, for example, when I see women in my practice who come to me and they're in these similar situations, right? The husband is very rarely hitting her, right? Or if it's a man, the woman isn't hitting him. It's like she's attacking his psyche, right? You're not good enough, you don't earn enough. My so-and-so friend's husband bought her this car or this thing and they live in this home. You're not good for anything, right? I'm not happy with you. So she attacks his psyche. With the men, it's, oh, you want to go to Pakistan to see your family? I can't afford that. If you want to go, you have to earn. Ask your brother, ask your dad to send you money. I can't, right?
Is that considered a psychological abuse?
So when we talk about what is the abuse aspect of it, it is the continuation of a certain thing meant to attack and hurt the other person, right? So in another word, it's what are your triggers? And am I purposely attacking you where your triggers are? Am I purposely attacking you knowing that it's going to inflict damage? And if I continuously do it over time, it breaks that person down, right? So I always tell people a rock, as hard as it, as strong and as solid as it may be, if I apply enough pressure to a rock, it's going to crumble, right? So no matter how strong your self-esteem or your self-confidence may be, a continuous hit over time breaks a person down.